Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today, I wanted to talk to you about something that, well, first, I wanted to talk about the weather. It's we've been having a week of rain and bad weather, and start moving tomorrow, and I'm sort of hoping not to get everything wet. But I'm just going to pan around and let you see what the weather's like here today. See the yellow fields? It's beautiful today, huh? This is where I currently live. This is off the back of the house. A big terrace we can use in a garden, but we really can't use it. The owner doesn't, he has all this set up for us, and it's just, anyway. Had a conversation with my daughter last night, and she called me upset and crying and stuff, and she's having some anxiety problems right now, and I so understand. Sometimes you just don't want to get out of the house and deal with people. Even checking the mail sometimes it's like you feel it, you feel this anxiety, and you worry about, okay, what's gonna hit you today, and yeah, you just get tired of get those punches every day, and it's funny because when I was younger, I had no problem with all that. I mean, I just, when I was her age, I had no problem with anxiety. I just sort of dealt with the punches as they hit. But yeah, as I've gotten older, I've sort of like just am tired of getting hit. It's been a rough, I would say, 10 years. And I've found jobs and lost jobs and found jobs and lost jobs. And I've never lost a job because I was fired. I've always lost a job, for doing some negligence. I've always lost jobs for financial reasons or something like that. The businesses were going down, or the owners just couldn't manage it, or you had, for example, one partner who just didn't like paying your salary, so, but those anxieties, they lead up to even worse, and you lose a bit of confidence, and you feel like, man, what's going on? Why does this keep happening, and you put a lot into your job, you put a lot into it, and you work for success, but the thing is, at the end of the day, you're not one controlling the strings, and that's a problem, and that's something I'm trying to fix now. I'm trying to correct that in my life, but getting back to my daughter, she's feeling this anxiety, and she called me last night, and she was really upset, and I guess it's a bit of feeling alone, also, because she isn't in the UK, and she does miss her dog, and she misses life here a little bit. But something I told her, I said, even this summer when you come to visit for 2 months, because she'll be on break from university for 2 months, that you won't feel like this is home anymore. Your home is where you're at right now. And although, and I grew to learn that really quickly when I was in the Army. I remember that first time coming back home on leave, just not really feeling connected the way I did where I was at in the Army. I felt much better where I was at, even though it was hard. It was a hard work, hard life. Hard lifestyle, I felt more, I love my parents, I love my family, and I appreciate where I live, where I'm from, I love that too, but I've always had this feeling, especially in the Army, I always said, home is where your rucksack is, and that's the truth, it's wherever you plant yourself, at the moment, and, but for her, she's getting to know that, and she's learning all that stuff, and something that she's feeling right now also, and it lays on her heavily, is her mother. And I hate to bring this up. I hate to, it just infuriates me that this woman, shows absolutely she absolutely has no heart to her, when it comes, and she does have a great heart. I knew her. I mean, I married her. I loved her, and she was a great woman, a great person, very happy, but she always claimed that her happiness relied on other people for some reason. It's like, oh, I'd be happy if I wasn't here. I'd be happy if I didn't have this, or wasn't dealing with that. Or it's like, well, I mean, find happiness, And in the end, she found it somewhere else. That's the thing. She's always blamed me for that I needed to have a woman in my life, but in the end, she's the one who had to have somebody in her life, and she has somebody. I don't, not because I absolutely don't want to have somebody in my life, but primarily because I'm just not going to settle, I'm not going to settle for worse, than what I already had. And what I had was good, but it turned bad, I'd rather be alone than go back to that situation. You know, a situation where you have somebody who's dependent. You know, their happiness depends on you. You know, and how motivated you are every day. You know, and but anyway, my daughter's feeling this right now. She's feeling a little bit rejected by her mom, and just lays really heavy on her, and it hurts her a lot. And I told her, you know, I went through the same thing with my own mother. And when I was, you know, I'd said my mother pretty much abandoned us with my dad when we were in junior high, when I was in junior high. And we moved to Montgomery, Louisiana, and I loved it there. I loved the freedom, the outdoors, it was just such a nice situation. And I got to see my dad, you know, and I wasn't seeing my mother whatsoever. She spent all her time working or with her, at that time, I guess my stepfather, and she basically just completely forgot about us. You know, we were second burner, and we've always been second burner in her life. You know, or even third. I feel like it. You know, but and she's made her family feel that way too, sadly. But my ex-wife's doing the same thing. You know, with the kids. I mean, she's making them feel, you know, second burner. You know, second, and that's sad because my son's sort of dealing with it by being cold himself. And saying, well, that's the way it is, but my daughter's having a bit harder time dealing with it. And what I want for her is for her to, well, I hate that she has to do this, but come to the realization that I had to come to when I was younger than her, and that is that I have to live my life and not worry about what somebody else, what we're about, you know, how she thinks, or how she's not thinking about me, you know. And I spoke to her about this last night. I said, you know, I suggested she just basically writes her mom a big email, because she'll never be able to talk to her word for word. Her mom's an academic, so she'd read, you know. But to write an email and to get her point across, her entire emotions across, you know, say how she feels and what she thinks and what she wants and what she doesn't want, and make it clear to her mother, and just leave it like that, and don't expect a reply, you know. Her mom is a loving person, and she will come around, but she's like an alcoholic a bit. You know, she comes around, but then the urge kicks back into her to just be cold again. You know, she'd be a very cold person. I remember when I was in the Army, getting ready to go off on operations or whatever, and within, you know, 3 days before I'd leave, she suddenly became protective, you know, and cold, and she just didn't know how to deal with the situation, so she moved into this position where she was protecting herself. And I can understand that in a lot of ways, you know. I'm about to leave, you know, but your kids is completely different, you know. You're going to have to deal with those emotions, and that's the problem with her. She's just unable to deal with her emotions, and my daughter is able to. She's just having a hard time with it. My son, I guess, a little bit the same way, you know. And I'm quite an emotional person myself. I have feelings, you know, and I care, and I want the best for people around me and for myself, but not at the expense of others. That's not what I want whatsoever. And anyway, I wanted to talk about this a little bit, because this anxiety, this feelings, this rejection that my daughter's feeling, it's just so unwarranted, because her mother's putting her in this situation by being cold to her and not, you know, not realizing the truth or what's in front of her eyes, you know, or even asking, you know, and that's sad. It also stems from from her mother's family, you know, and they tended to do this also. You wouldn't find out about something bad until like 2 or 3 weeks after it happened, because they just tended to not tell anybody, not deal with it, not answer, you know, not face the problem, you know, and that's a, you know, that's a problem also. But anyway, I thought I would get this out to you and talk about this a little bit more. Maybe you're in the same kind of situation, or you know someone in the situation, or maybe you're the person who's being the cold person in this situation. If you are, you know, look, reach out to the person. You care about this person. You love them. You know, they mean very much to you, and it's important to communicate, you know, your point of view also. You know, I know some people have a hard time dealing with these situations, so they don't know how, so they don't. And when you really need to, because like I said, this person that you're who's having this problem even though you might want to think, well, you know, you need to grow up, you know, need to buck up a little bit, all this kind of stuff, and yet to a certain level, yeah, but to a certain level, until that person's capable of doing that, you know, you need to sort of help them a little bit along through that way, and you can't just leave them out to, you know, to sort themselves out. Sometimes you got to help them a little bit. So anyway, I'm just enjoying this view. It's a really nice view today. It's quite chilly though, but it's a nice view today, and hopefully this lasts a couple of days so I can get moved in by the end of Saturday. But anyway, listen, I want to thank you for tuning in and listening to what I have to say, and I hope that if you're dealing with this, that maybe you can see some light yourself. Anyway, thanks a lot. You guys have a good day. Weekend's coming up soon, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.